was that same yearning for freedom that nearly 250 years ago gave birth to a special place called America. It was a small cluster of colonies caught between a great ocean and a vast wilderness. It was home to an incredible people with a revolutionary idea that they could rule themselves, that they could chart their own destiny, and then together they could light up the entire world.
Well, hello, I'm Janet Morano, the Executive Director of Priests for Life. I also co-founded the Silent No More Awareness Campaign. Welcome to Just Ask Janet. Well, there's a lot of excitement happening because later this week, we will be at the March for Life in Washington, D.C. And there's so many events happening in D.C. besides the march. You know, there's dinners, there's the Rose Dinner. Then we're going to tell you about a special dinner at today's show that will be on Thursday. It's going to be at the Trump Hotel. So you're going to learn a lot about these details on this show. Because joining me is a wonderful gentleman. His name is Eddie Perez, and he's the CEO and founder of a Women's Haven Pregnancy Resource Center. And they are doing amazing work to help abortion-minded women see that they don't have to choose between maybe their job and the baby, or they're going to get kicked out of the house or the baby, or you name the reason. Because so many women are basically pressured or forced into an abortion, and all they need is a sign of hope. Well, my guest today, Eddie Perez, is giving that hope to the women in San Antonio, Texas. We're going to hear a lot about that today. So, Eddie, welcome to the program.
Hi, Janet. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, first of all, we know, like I was saying, that, and we know this from the women who've gone through Rachel's Vineyard and Silent No More, that women aren't freely really choosing abortion for the most part. There's all kinds of pressures coming to bear on them, and they just need some hope. You're providing that hope in San Antonio, Texas. So tell us your background. What made you get so passionately involved in this issue?
Yeah, thank you. Well, my parents, they actually went to the very first March for Life in 1974. And
Wow.
my parents, they actually, they showed, Nellie Gray was there and everything, and they showed they showed a video of an abortion, and it dramatically affected my parents. And so ever since then, they've been actively involved in, helping women, fostering children, and just doing all they can in the pro-life movement. My mom actually became a pregnancy crisis counselor at the local pregnancy center. She became the executive director, and she counseled women for over 30 years. Wow. So she retired in San Antonio, and she immediately was asked at the local pregnancy center to be their executive director, and she needed some help. So she asked my wife, who has been CFO of nonprofits before, but she decided to stop working once we had our first child. So she asked my wife to come in and just help her sort out some of the materials and the diapers, and have kind of like a more detailed system as far as giving women material assistance. Pretty much immediately, my wife became the president of the organization, and they were working together. And I was not spiritually in a place where I was in the service mode until about 5 years after that. I went on an Acts retreat with my local church, and I came back, and I was just full of the Holy Spirit and ready to do my part to serve, but I didn't know what I was going to do. So I joined the Knights of Columbus. I joined a bunch of different ministries at church, and it just wasn't doing it for me. At the same time, my wife told me that my parents wanted to pull back because they were retired from doing so much at a Women's Haven, and my wife wanted to pull back because we had our second child. And I was concerned. I was like, well, what's going to happen to the organization? She goes, I don't know. So I said, okay, well, I'm sure y'all will figure it out. So I went upstairs and my wife followed me and she said, "Hey, why don't you do it?" And I said, "Do what?" And she said, "Run a woman's, the pregnancy center." I said, "You want me to run a women's pregnancy center?" And she said, "Yes." So I asked her, I said, "Well, I don't think that's going to work because you have a type A personality. I have a type A personality. We're going to argue all the time. I'm going to want to make a lot of changes." And she says to me, "I will do anything you tell me to do." And I went,
Wow.
"Wow." I said, "Baby, that's all I've ever wanted to hear." And she was like, "No, no, just with a woman's aid." And I said, "Okay, that's fine. That's fine." Right. So from that time, I've been very passionate about. So I've been doing it about 8 years. And so we've been doing it ever since. So
That's great. And what gave you the idea, which I think is an amazing, great idea,
yeah,
about Vans for Life? Because we all know the hardest challenge is getting that abortion minded woman to the pregnancy center. But
right.
now you're taking that van with the ultrasound and all the equipment right to the abortion clinic, right?
Correct.
So how did you kind of, because this
Yeah,
idea, there's Save the Storks, there's other
right.
groups who've done
Right.
this, but not so in San Antonio. So what gave
Right.
you the wisdom to say, hey, I got to take the business where it's going and get these women and save them?
Well, so when I approached it, I was a financial advisor before. So I'm always looking at, okay, what's the problem? And then what's the solution, right? So I was
Right.
looking at, well, what's the problem? Abortion. What's the solution? Well, there have been a million abortions that have occurred every year in this country for 50 years. Um, and it hasn't really gone down. And so I thought, my gosh, what's this? Maybe the strategy needs to change, right? So I looked at it and did some research, and I found that there was 2,500 pregnancy resource centers, but there was only about 750 abortion facilities. So we outnumber them 4 or 5 to 1. But so I didn't understand what was happening until I dug a little deeper, and I found that most of the pregnancy resource centers are not located by the abortion facilities. And I thought, my God, that doesn't make any sense. If the girls are going in for an abortion and you want to tell them, hey, there's alternatives, there's better ways, and there's things that you can do. Well, we can't then tell the girl, okay, well, that center, those resources, it's about a mile down the road, or it's about 5 miles down the road. You got to take the bus and you do this transfer ticket. They're not going to do that. I thought you have to be right there, because the other statistic is that 90% of all women who go into an abortion facility will have an abortion, but 90% of women who go into a pregnancy center will keep their child. So it really is a matter of, is she going to go left or is she going to go right? And you better be right there. So I immediately moved our local office, across the street from an abortion facility. And we went from seeing 200 girls a year to 1,200 girls a year, like instant. It was very, very quick. The abortion facility got so frustrated that they moved away. And I thought, okay, well, what can we do not only now, but going forward? And we were able to get a mobile ultrasound van. And we purchased it and we parked it in front of the abortion facilities. And in a 2-year period, we were able to save over 800 babies from being aborted. And one of the abortion facilities, we took away so much of their business that they decided to close their doors. So I knew our strategy. We had a good sidewalk program where people were talking to the girls and saying, hey, free pregnancy test, free ultrasounds right here. I can get you on the van right now with our nurse. And it was very effective. And I thought, well, why can't we do this across the country? Well, at some of the other organizations that do vans and other mobile units, they're doing 1 or 2 a year. And I thought, that's not enough. There's 750 abortion facilities. So I found a manufacturer. I found 2 or 3 actually, and I chose one. They're able to outfit the vans to be a mobile ultrasound van. They're able to do it at a pretty decent cost, and they can do up to 100 a year. So I thought, oh my God, that's what we're looking for. That's what we need to do. So I started reaching out to different pregnancy centers to see if they'd be interested in getting a van if I was able to secure one for them. And I have 21 pregnancy centers right now who want vans. So we placed an order of 8 vans that should be ready to go before summertime. And then, depending on how we're able to fundraise and the success we have, we're going to order more and more vans because there's definitely a demand for it. And pregnancy centers are seeing more and more that if you want to get the clients that are going into the abortion facilities, you better be right there ready to receive that girl with help. So that's why I established Vans for Life.
Well, and we do know too, statistically, Eddie, that 90% of those women, when they do see the ultrasound of their
Yeah.
baby, they will choose life because they bond and connect with the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the abortion clinic, will not let them see that ultrasound. In fact, the abortion clinic only does the ultrasound for a search and destroy mission of seeing how big
Mm-hmm.
the baby is and how to destroy the child. And in
Right.
fact, the abortion mill turns the Doppler down so that they can't hear the heartbeat of that baby. But at the
Right.
pregnancy center, they see the baby, they hear the heartbeat, and they realize, oh,
Right.
that's my baby. And they see that child and they choose
Yeah.
life. It's a
Eh,
really a
Yeah.
no brainer. It's a great strategy. And
Yeah,
I
and
have
also, we have on our van, our nurses are our counselors as well. So they're trained in both. And so we get them to see the baby. And of course, they are absolutely wanting to keep the child, but they still have that crisis. And so we then talk to them about that. What is it that's keeping you from thinking that you can raise this child? Well, I don't have any place to live. Okay, what if we help you find a place to live? Well, I'm not going to be able to go to college. Well, what if we help you get scholarships that you now actually qualify for because you're a mom? Well, I can't tell my parents. Well, what if we tell them for you? So it's what's the crisis and eliminate it. One time my mother was counseling a girl and she was dead set on having an abortion. She had two young children. And my mother said, what is it that's keeping you from wanting to have this third child? And she said, I just can't have it. And she said, what would it take? And she said, she thought about it for a second and she said, well, if I could get a double stroller. And my mom said, a double stroller? Why? Why do you need that? And she goes, well, because I don't have a car. I take the bus and I take two little kids. I can't take a third, but if I had a double stroller, I could do that. So my mom got her a double stroller, and 6 months later, she brought the baby for my mom to see. So, every girl's situation is different. Sometimes it could be small, it could be big. We just do whatever we need to do to eliminate the crisis.
That's right. Yeah, you're right, Eddie. That's the story. You give them hope, you
Mm-hmm.
remove the problem, you solve the problem, and
Right.
they have the baby. It's amazing. So
Yeah.
I know you're doing a lot of fundraising
Mm-hmm.
because to get these vans, they're expensive. They're about what, $100,000 a van, something like
They're
that.
they're about 115,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know we just said this week we're going to be at the March for Life, but
Right.
Thursday
Yeah.
I and Father Pavone and some women from Silent No More, we're going to be your guests at the Trump Hotel. You're
Yes.
having a ball
Yeah.
for the Vans for Life fundraiser. Tell our audience about that.
Yeah, so this is going to be our kickoff event actually for the fundraising. We're not paying 100% for the vans and just giving them to pregnancy centers. The pregnancy center has to have a lot of skin in the game, financially and time wise and training and all of that. So we're not looking to pay 100% of the van, but a lot of these pregnancy centers, they do need some help financially to help them get the van. So that's what this is for. We plan on having some fundraisers in the future as well. But this is going to be our kickoff, and we thought, no better place to do it than at the March for Life. And so, we needed a keynote speaker, and we were able to get Tim Tebow. He's going to be our keynote speaker at this event. He's very pro-life. He's got an awesome pro-life story. One of the quotes I recently saw from him, and I didn't even know this, was he was on an interview and they were talking about football and Super Bowls and everything. And he said, I'd rather be known for saving babies than for winning a Super Bowl. And I thought that was pretty amazing. So, we're going to have him at the Trump Hotel. So it's very exciting.
Well, and I too believe the story is too that his mom was considering an abortion, wasn't she?
I think everybody was telling her to.
Right. That's what I'm saying. She was
Yeah.
being pressured to
Yes.
abort
Yes.
Tim,
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
So his mom, I know, also goes around speaking too, talking
Yeah.
about how she had this conversion of heart too,
Mhm.
from thinking about even aborting him.
Yeah.
So she also had that conversion of heart. So
Yeah.
now, if they want to get it, I think there are still a few tickets left.
Yeah.
Tell us about the cost, where to go, get a ticket. What's the
Yeah.
story?
Just if you go to vansforlife.org, there's a box at the top of the webpage, and you just click on that. The tickets are $100 a piece. That's just to pay for, like, the dinner. It's not the cheapest thing in the world to have a fundraiser at the Trump Hotel. So that basically just pays for our expenses and so forth for the evening. And then at the end of the night, we'll talk about what specifically is needed financially to help, and they'll have an opportunity to give if they're able to.
Well, I hope you're going to have someone give a good pitch for that. Like,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, one of the most important things at any pregnancy center banquet
Yeah.
is to give people plenty of time to
Yeah.
fill out those pledge cards with
Yes.
their credit card numbers and make a pledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I have my
and
mom doing the ask.
okay,
So it's
yeah,
it's yeah.
because when I lived up in New Jersey, I was on the board of a pregnancy center, and they used to have me do the ask
Oh
um,
wow. Okay.
at their event. And one of the secrets really is I used to pull out my own credit card,
Yeah.
and I would fill out my pledge card while I was having them fill out their pledge cards. It's all together. Let's do this
Hmm.
together, and we would play some beautiful music while they're filling out the pledge card, because it's all great to go and hear Tim Tebow and have a beautiful meal together and a glass of wine and celebrate.
Right.
But the whole purpose is to get those Vans for Life out there to
Right.
save the babies. So we have to give people plenty of time to be generous. So I want to remind some of our viewers too, even if you can't go to the Vans for Life event at the Trump Hotel this Thursday, you could still support Vans for Life by going
Yeah.
to vansforlife.org. I'm sure Eddie wouldn't mind some donations coming, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, unfortunately, we have a little glitch in our tech department trying to figure out the payment system. So what I'll do is I'll put a link on there, or I'll put some information about where to send a check, and then it's supposed to be up today. Hopefully, it will be. But yeah, if you go to the website and there's not a place where you can make an electronic donation, then I'll have an address as well. But yeah, that would be great.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning that you're going to order 8 vans. Can you tell us what states they're going to? Like, what pregnancy centers are lined up so far, committed to receive a van and
Yeah.
fundraise for it?
So they're all over the country, but what I've told them, and I've been in communication with them, I said, in March, depending on the outcome of our benefit dinner, I'm going to reach out to every one of them. And the first criteria is they have to be coachable. We're going to have a video series and training programs available to them, because the goal is, in my mind, is that I don't want to have to go to every single pregnancy center and train them from the ground up on how to operate the van and how to be successful with it. I want to be able to launch 100 vans if I needed to. Well, in order to do that, they need to have the training, and we're going to do a video series program on what the strategies are. How do you hire people? What do you do on the sidewalk? What do you do when a girl comes up and their boyfriend's there and he wants to come in and he's not very supportive? I mean, just the proper training, and the strategies to make sure they implement the strategies that we use that was so successful. We don't want them, reinventing the wheel. We want them to be able to be coachable. So once that's out of the way, I'll talk to them about their finances. And if it's a pregnancy center that is able to pay for the van outright, great. We're going to do that, because then we can use those funds to get another van. And we'll go down the list. If there's pregnancy centers that maybe are perfect candidates, but they don't have that 115,000, either I can help them with their fundraising strategies, or we can offer them grants to help them with the cost of the van.
Okay, that's great. And of
Yeah.
course, the pregnancy center too. I know this with the pregnancy center back in New Jersey I was involved with. We had
Mhm.
a van
Yeah.
mobile unit too. And I know one of the biggest expenses that we had to tackle, and we did, was we had to hire the full-time sonographer to be on the van for whatever days and hours it was going to be out there, and the nurse
Right.
practitioner, because you have to have a licensed, trained sonographer to do those sonograms. You just can't let any willing person do it.
Correct.
So that's part of the training and the fundraising too, because you've got to have a properly trained sonographer there
Yeah,
to do those ultrasounds. Because you know what it is too,
absolutely.
showing them what people don't realize is, and you also have to have a doctor connected because
Right,
you're doing a medical diagnosis. So you have to have a doctor signing off, working with
right.
the sonographer. There's all these kind of, like, I call it the red tape of it all, that you
Sure.
have to get all the ducks in order, don't you, Eddie?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to do that. You have to have a medical director. In the state of Texas, you actually don't have to be a nurse. You just have to go through, I think it's a 3-day training, because these are limited ultrasounds. It's not showing them the gender or anything like that. It's just showing them that they are carrying a baby. But because of, you know, we just wanted it to be to where our sonographers, the ones who do the ultrasounds, they actually are nurses. And that's important because we had, just one example. We had a girl come to us who came in the van after going to the abortion facility. And she didn't feel comfortable with what they told her, but they told her because she had diabetes, she had to have an abortion. And that absolutely is not true at all. So the nurse was able to talk her through that, and we were able to save that baby. But it's really important to have a nurse if at all possible, and then they go through the ultrasound training, which again takes about 2 or 3 days. Every state is different, but that's just the way it is in Texas.
That's right. And now to go back to the Vans for Life gala,
Yeah.
this coming Thursday for a minute.
Right.
So everyone's, I know some people, if there's a VIP moment, are going to get to actually get a picture and with Tim Tebow and meet Tim Tebow, right?
Right.
And about how many tickets have been sold so far for the event?
For the event, we're right. What I have found, and I've done about 20 events for our local pregnancy center. What we find is that more and more people wait till the last second. So right now we have 400 of the 800 that are already sold. But the expectation is for those to be gone. It usually happens within, 3 or 4 days of the event. We just get a mad rush of people registering. So if you want to get a ticket, I would recommend do it as soon as possible.
Right. And I also want to tell everyone, because we did call the Trump Hotel. Many
Yeah.
people have heard about the mayor of DC, starting January 15th, has put this mandate in place that only vaccinated people can go indoors to indoor events. Everyone has to be masked. But
Right.
there's also, in those rules, if you go look at it, a religious objection. You can have exemption. You can have a religious exemption. So for all of you, whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated, you can go to this event, the Vans for Life Ball Gala. And if you're not vaccinated, I recommend that you can either get a letter saying you have a religious exemption. However, the mandate from the mayor says it just has to be a verbal. I have a religious exemption, but you need a 24-hour COVID test. So my recommendation is get that COVID test kit and bring it to Washington with you, because that will allow you to have more freedom to go into indoor spaces if you've got that negative COVID test and you apply for a religious exemption. So I think, Eddie, like you're saying, a lot of people maybe are being cautious right now because they were afraid they couldn't get into your event, but they can.
Right.
Vaccinated or not vaccinated, you can go to this event. And I want to see you, okay?
Yeah.
I'm personally inviting you. I'm going to be there with Father Pavone and Women from Silent No More. Please come to this event and say hi to me, okay? I just don't want to see you on the TV here, on the camera. I want to see you in person on Thursday at the Trump Hotel for the Vans for Life event. So, Eddie, I'm going to pray real hard that you sell out the rest of those tickets. And
Yes.
kind of excited to meet Tim Tebow. I mean, I watch some football, but I'm not like an avid football fan. But I know I have some family members are, so I'll be very anxious to get a picture with Tim Tebow, which I could show them. Look, I got a picture with Tim.
Yeah, and he's a wonderful speaker, and he's got great testimony, and he's a great human being. So
that's right. And of course, you're going to have one of the women from your state with Silent No More give her testimony, aren't you?
Right. Yeah. In the beginning, we have a video, and then she's going to be speaking at the Silent No More as well. Oh, by the way, we are giving a pro-life hero award to Abby Johnson, so she'll be there as well.
So Abby Johnson is going to be there also. So
Yes.
that's another opportunity for people to hear, because I'm sure she's not going to just take the award and go. I'm sure Abby's going to say a few words.
Well, she's
Abby,
very shy. It's kind of hard to get her to speak, but
I'm just saying, Abby is never at a loss for words. Not Abby
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
really
she's awesome.
awesome. You get to meet a lot of great people. And I know Father Pavone will be saying the closing prayer.
Yes.
And I know he'll hang around to see and greet everyone and take pictures with people also. So I think
apparently we're having like congressmen, and we're having a bunch of other people who are very pro-life, and some that I don't even know of that are coming. So it should be a great event.
I think it's going to be one of the premier events this week in Washington, D.C. So I'm very excited. And, Eddie, I just have to say thank you for all you're doing. You gave some statistics about how many babies were saved. But you know what? If you did all this effort and you only saved one baby, the Lord would say it was worth it all.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I have to say thank you.
I appreciate
for your courage, your bravery, and for your whole family. That kind of, when you think about it, your parents got in on the March for Life, the very first March for Life,
Right.
And so your family has a great pro-life tradition, and we want to thank you for standing up for the unborn. So God bless you, and I'll see you on Thursday, okay?
All right, Janet, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, God bless.
You too.
Well, brothers and sisters, I hope you're encouraged. And also, too, I hope you are coming to Washington, D.C. I just want to give you a few reminders. If you go to priestforlife.org/March for Life, we have the list of all the events that Father Pavone and I will be participating in. So, for example, Thursday morning from 9 a.m. to 11, we are going to be in front of Planned Parenthood in Washington, D.C., having a peaceful, prayerful witnessing in front of Planned Parenthood. Then, of course, Friday morning at DAR Constitution Hall, we are going to have the beautiful interdenominational prayer service. It's going to kick off at 7:30 in the morning with Mass by Bishop Coffey, followed by 8:30 is the interdenominational prayer service. We're honoring legislators from Texas and Mississippi because of the great laws they passed in the Heartbeat Bill in Texas. And, of course, we have the Dobbs case, the Gestational Age Act in Mississippi. That's before the Supreme Court right now. Well, we're going to be honoring the very people who were involved in bringing those two beautiful laws into existence. And so it's a great, and we have a great Christian singer also who's going to head up that interdenominational prayer service. Following the prayer service, we'll see you all down at the March for Life rally, march up to the Supreme Court, where at approximately 2:30, the men and women will silent no more will take the stage in front of the court and give their testimonies. Now, if you think that's not enough, then of course, Friday night, there's the Rose Dinner for those who are going to that. And then on Saturday, we'll be back in front of the Supreme Court because Saturday is the sad day, anniversary of Roe v. Wade, January the 22nd, starting at 9 a.m. More testimony, more testimonies and more prayers and witnesses from pro-life leaders. So again, go to vansforlife.org, get your tickets. I'll see you Thursday night, and I hope to see you at all those events I've mentioned. God bless. See you soon.
I will be